What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, December 5th. It's starting to get chilly here in Northeast Texas. I woke up this morning to 32 degrees at daybreak. That's freezing. It's at the freezing point, but it starts to change things around here a lot. We go from that beautiful subtropical type climate to semi-Antarctic climate, depending on how much of that Arctic air comes down and how far south it comes down. Predicting heavy winter this year, again, backed up by the almanac and a few other things. So other people say that we're in for some snow again and ice and a cold one. Well, it ain't here yet. So it's weird. I got trees on my property that haven't dropped hardly any leaves, and I have other trees that have completely dropped all their leaves and out of sequence as well. So I got 4.7 acres here and a pond and everything, and there's certain trees, especially like the ones above my house, they almost always drop leaves first, and the ones down my long driveway, there's a few of them there that drop later in the season, and it's backwards this year. Everything above my house is still there, and it's still partially green. It's weird. So weird climate we live in, but it is December and it is winter now. I made a mistake last week. And the mistake I made, a couple guys called me out on it. I hope the newbies don't think that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I put us 100 feet underwater last week. I've done thousands of reports, or at least I've in 10 years of keeping track of this every single day, all year long. I've got a lot of that recorded, and I don't know how, but last week I put 499. Elevation full pool is 403, and shoot at 410. There's water at the Lake Fort Marina store. So I put everybody underwater last week. I mean, Jamie's restaurant was flooded. All the houses were flooded. Heck, I think where I'm at here, I might even have water in my house. I'm in the north end of the lake, but I am up elevated. Anyways, apologize for that mistake. It is 400. 400.83 to yesterday, 400.82 today, which is like 2.2 feet below full pool. Remember, every 0.25 is 3 inches. So if we were 400.75, it would actually be 2.32 foot 3 inches below full pool. Clarity 0 to 1. Temperatures are falling. I'm not on the water today. It's cold. If you can tell, I got my coffee, so it's Tuesday morning. But here's the deal. It's 54, 57 yesterday. This morning, my pond had fog coming off of it, so we're losing temperatures fast. We're likely to be below the 55 mark, maybe more like 53s and 55s. The afternoons have been nice and comfortable. In fact, 2 days ago, I think my AC even kicked on in the afternoon, but you have to start thinking about winter fishing. There's a lot of different ways you can approach winter fishing. If you like to fish shallow, then I suggest you sleep in, have a warm breakfast, and fish midday later in the day. Afternoon bite. If you don't mind getting up, getting out there early, fishing in the cold, and it's not that cold, the right gear, besides the boat ride, with the right gear, you can catch them deep. Really, you can catch them deep all day long. And that's starting to set up right now. So things like the Lake Fork Flutter Spoon, Alabama rigs, storm swim baits, wild eye swim baits, or your choice of paddle tail swim baits. Those kinds of things, slow rolled or worked down deep, slab spoons. I really like to use a cripple herring slab spoon. I use a 1 ounce. This is not a 1 ounce, but this is a ½ ounce. I'd use a 1 ounce crippled herring slab spoon. The key when you're looking deep is to find the right school, the right active school of fish. And that really comes to be with your sonar and looking for bait fish, looking for the right scenario. Remember, a lot of times if the bait fish is round, the ball is round, then nothing's been chasing or attacking it recently. The bait fish is broken up and elongated, or you got the ball, but you got balls and pieces around it, balls and extra shad around it. something's been attacking it, and then obviously you really find this scenario where there's lines going through it, that's fish attacking it. So that's what you need to find deep. When I say deep, I'm talking anywhere from 22 to 40 foot of water. Main basin, down south, a lot of the hard bottom areas, the road beds, things like that. That's where you kind of want to look deep. If you're running shallow, rattle traps are really good baits. You can fish them through the wood. You can definitely fish them around vegetation. The issue is we don't have a lot of vegetation on Lake Fork. There's just not a lot there. So generally when I go shallow nowadays, besides the warm trending effect, is I'll just go to a football jig. I'm sorry, not a football jig. I go to a rattling jig. I get away from the football jig and I just go to like a sand tone rattling jig. Black and blue is one of your best colors. And I fish the stumps. You can fish them anywhere from 8 to 12 feet, 16 feet of water. The root systems are the best. The bigger stumps that have roots and something for those fish to get into, they're usually the best. But these days, we've learned a lot with live scope. And the live scope has shown us and given us the ability to find and target the fish that suspend in the wood, in the trees. And they'll suspend in deep water. You can be in 40, 50, 60 feet of water. Generally 30. And you want the trees that come almost all the way up to the surface. And sometimes they'll be sticking out of the surface. Ones that have appendages, trees that have appendages are even better. But those fish will live and suspend in those trees at different levels, depending on the weather. And you can literally go right up the middle of the creek and be looking at trees with your live scope. And then you can be in 40 feet of water and see a bass in 10, 12, 15 feet of water on those trees. Those are tough to target. Jerk baits, again, weedless Alabama rigs, crankbaits, swim baits, glide baits. Those are all part of a presentation with live scope. And the key is you have to be really good at it. It's like shooting a basketball into a hoop. A live scope may show you the fish, but putting the bait in the right spot, making the right cast, and delivering the bait in a presentation to the fish for the fish to strike the bait, is very challenging. So keeping that stuff in mind, again, I prefer the shallow bite. I prefer to just sleep in and have a nice warm morning, enjoy the fire, enjoy the coffee, and then, roll out about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning as the warm trend's happening. Work the shallow waters where you can find some vegetation, if you can find some vegetation, because vegetation absorbs a lot of sun and heat, and it can act as a blanket. So if you can find some decent vegetation, shallow vegetation, you can have reaction bait bite, square bill bite, chatterbait bite, rattle trap bite, which is basically a lipless crankbait. You might even find a soft plastic bite, like a weightless sinker or something like that. But we're getting down there. We're getting down below 55 degrees, and it's winter fishing for sure. So again, I want to give a quick shout out to Lake Fork Marina. I want to give a shout out to Jamie's Restaurant. Remember, Jamie's Restaurant is on winter hours, so the hours are a little different, and they're only open until 2 p.m., 2 in the afternoon on Sundays. 6 a.m. in the morning is the winter start, I believe. So don't rush up there too early, and I could be wrong on that, but just double check it. If you're going to Jamie's, double check that restaurant hours for the winter, and it's just for a couple months. I want to give a shout out to all the sponsors, all the support. Abby Garcia, Berkeley, Texas Insider Fishing Report, J. Hodge Chevrolet, Yamaha Skeeter, Mark Pack Lures, Impact Lures, Lake Fork Trophy Lures, Tie Lines, UV, Santone, Roger Belk, and Go Fish, and on and on. There's so much support, and even more and more growing these days. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank those of you for subscribing. Remember, there is an upgraded channel. There's 2 upgraded channels. The members only channel is your first upgrade. It's not free, but it's not expensive. It's I think $4.99 a month. You get 8 videos a month, which are much more detailed fishing reports, which this time of year, it's marginal. But in the springtime, when I'm guiding 6 days a week, I spill my guts in the member only. I tell them exactly what we're using, exactly the colors, the how-to, the presentations, the rod, the reel, the lines, the locations. I tell the truth. And that members only channel has about 300 plus members. It's very valuable. You get a decent public report here. You get a much more upgraded report in the members only channel. So consider that. And then from there, there's a Let's Talk Fishing channel, which is $9.99 a month. You get 4 more additional videos. You get the 8 videos a month from the members. You get access to the members, but then you get an additional 4 videos a month, which are lessons. Every Sunday, I film a 45-minute to 1-hour lesson. Those lessons are in very good depth, very deep depth of everything from presentations to location. We just did winter tactics. I've gone through all of the baits, everything you can imagine, glide baits, jigs, Carolina rigs, and there is probably 35 to 40 videos in the archive. So there's 35 to 40 hours worth of information that someone subscribes today. You have to go watch and catch up on. The value for you to subscribe for even 1 month, watch all that information, and then unsubscribe is unreal. It's unreal. The library, I'm so proud now. My dad always said a penny in a jar adds up. And I look back on my library of lessons, and I'm blown away. I'm truly blown away. So that's your invite. Come on, check out the members. Maybe go all the way. $9.99 a month, $10 a month for incredible information and learning, not just about Lake Fork, but in those members, I tell about 6 or 7 different lakes locally here, even all the way to Dallas. I've got 5 guides that we do the Texas Insider Fishing Report with. We do Hubbard, Palestine, O.H. Ivy, Lavon, Possum Kingdom. So there is some really, really good, healthy, fat information you'll get by becoming more of a member than just a public member. All right? Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you. Have a safe week. I'll be back Thursday for another quick detailed report. I'm Mike McFarland, owner of McFarland Fishing and the Lake Fork Guide.